I'm Otis. Livingston, a major blow to long-suffering Jet fans after just 4 snaps. Aaron Rodgers' NFL season is over. Thus, this highly anticipated season with him as quarterback for the Jets is done. We now know the quarterback has a torn left Achilles tendon, suffered last night in the season opener against the Bills on Monday Night Football. The Jets right now are giving an update on his condition and where the season goes from here. Let's listen in.
That up timeline can work out for him and that he can handle this moment.
Yeah, it's a fair question. He is, from a mental standpoint, he's so much different than this time a year ago. He's in a great frame of mind. He's loving the game of football. He's loving the process that he's going through. He's got a lot of confidence. All the little things that we saw in college that he was struggling with a year ago are not the same struggles he was having that he had. He's fixed a lot of things. And so we're very excited about him. Obviously, he will acknowledge he still has a lot of things to learn and grow, and we're excited to be able to do that with him. I think he's been able to rebuild rapport with his teammates, and just the overall, just the way he's kind of handled himself has been fantastic. But everything about him is just so much different than a year ago. So we're, like I said, is it happening faster than I think anyone expected, obviously, under the circumstances, but he's somebody that's made a drastic improvement from a year ago.
Robert, you just mentioned he's rebuilt the rapport with his teammates. Obviously, that was an issue last year after the New England game. How have you seen him do that this offseason, I guess, training?
Let me fix that word rapport. It's more confidence. I should say confidence in terms of just his ability to from the process and the practice habits. Not that they were bad. It's just there's a confidence. Like, teammates want to see each other make plays and have confidence that you can do your job to the best of your ability. And I think just over the course of OTAs and training camp, Zach has had a lot of success. I think you guys have witnessed a lot of it. I thought he did a really nice job in all the preseason games. So I think he's built a lot of confidence with his teammates. And so when I say rapport, I think it's more, I'm trying to say confidence.
How would you describe your level of disappointment right now, Robert?
For us?
Looking at the injury, I just want to know, what are you feeling? What are you feeling?
I feel more for Aaron than anyone. He's invested so much into this organization, so much into this journey that he's embarked on, and wanting to be a part of what we've got going here, and how much he's invested in not only this organization but his teammates, himself, this fan base, the city. So I have a lot of emotions for him. As for us, it's really all about him. It is. I don't look at it like a woe is me here for the organization. I think guys are excited about being able to step up and continue the things that we've been building, but a lot of hurt for Aaron.
Robert, with Aaron, just to confirm, you don't know if he'll need surgery yet, but he's out for the year, right? It's torn Achilles, he's out.
Yeah, he's out for the year. He needs surgery. I just don't have any details for you guys.
Robert, there was a report that the play that Aaron got hurt on was a cut block. There was a report from The Athletic that Aaron had voiced his that he wasn't necessarily a fan of the cut blocks because it kind of forced him to throw earlier, and it removed the ability for him to extend plays if he wanted. Is there any accuracy to that? And if so, why continue to keep that in the playbook?
I don't know about that one. That hasn't come across me in terms of whether or not there's displeasure or anything. Quick game. Ball coming out now, get guys' hands down. There's a bunch of ways to do it. But no, I don't have anything for you on that one. I haven't heard anything through the locker room.
But I know how, you say you're not thinking about the organization, you think about Aaron. How difficult is it for this franchise that's been through so much? Everything was going to be on him, and to go through what you've gone through now.
I don't know why people are trying to put an obituary onto our team name. It's Aaron is an unbelievable piece to this whole thing, and we love him. But I think there's 52 other guys in the locker room, plus the 16 practice squad guys that believe that we can do a hell of a lot of good things here. And we got championship caliber defense. We got great skill guys, on the offensive side of the ball. Our O-line is going to continue to gel and get better, but we're excited about our group. We've worked hard over the last couple of years, players, coaches, scouts, GM, building a pretty cool organization. And so there's still a lot of faith in the locker room on the things that we can still accomplish this year. So while the outside world can go ahead and write whatever story they want to write, there's still the true story being written in this building. So,
Robert, with that being said, right, and it's fair, no one should be writing your obituary, but expectations are different without Aaron Rodgers. You guys put a lot into getting him at the beginning of the offseason. Woody said you guys felt quarterback was the missing piece, right? It felt like he was the piece to get you guys over the top. Now he's gone after 4 snaps. Doesn't that alter expectations for this team?
Like I said, expectations for us are always the same. I've said before, you could be an expansion team in the NFL, and you're still expected to go 17-0. It's expectation versus controllables, and we never talk expectations, because the expectation is to go out. The only expectation we have of ourselves is to go out and do our best every single day and maximize who we are and go to bed better than when we woke up. When we woke up, and that's all you can ask for. The expectations of winning and losing is the narrative that gets created outside the building, which is expected. That's part of the job, but at the same time, it's never been what we talk about, and that's the whole thing. If you talk to them all, the same things that were being talked about with regards to winning championships and winning divisions and all that, they're still going to say the same thing. Fully expect them to have that mindset. But again, you can't achieve any of that unless you go out and attack the day and attack the moment and do the best you can. So, while narrative might change on the outside world and the articles that are being written, the expectation here is still continue to give ourselves an opportunity to put our best foot forward.
You said you were going to look through some things for a backup quarterback. Does that entail veteran free agents or the trade market?
Yeah, but I guess the message I'm just trying to deliver in terms of, we're going to look at everything. Preferably, not preferably, but you're going to look at veterans, you're going to look at young guys, but under no circumstances any of this a competition. This is Zach's team, and we're rolling with Zach.
Robert, how does
Boyle become the number 2 this week? Boyle just moves up to 2.
Tim Boyle will be elevated, yes.
Robert, how does this change the offensive strategy, if at all, with Zach's skill set compared to Aaron's?
It's kind of a game plan question. I'm going to hold that one. We still think Zach is fully capable of doing executing the offense. Obviously, there's going to be nuance that might be different, but as far as getting into too much detail on what that game plan will be, I'm going to hold that one.
All right, that's the latest update from out at Florham Park, where the Jets confirmed their deepest fears. Aaron Rodgers done for the season, and now Zach Wilson takes over the starting spot, as you heard right there. Head coach Robert Saleh speaking glowingly about Zach Wilson, talking about having confidence in him going forward, putting everything behind them from last year, but they believe in Zach Wilson. Joining me now to talk about what this all means for Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the Jets is former Jets quarterback and part of our Jets late night team, Jay Fiedler, and former Jets defensive back Eric Coleman, who has also been a part of our Jets late night squad. Good afternoon, guys. Jay, I'm going to start with you. As a former quarterback who's dropped back to pass thousands of times, planted, been sacked a number of times, been in the same position that Aaron Rodgers was in last night, what was your first thought when you saw him go down?
Oh, man, I just felt horrible, like every Jet fan, like every football fan out there. Here's a guy who is the face of the franchise right now, the face of the league for over a decade. He's four-time MVP. There was a ton of hype and expectations through this season. You had the hard knocks through the preseason. Everyone was getting ready to see what he was going to do for the New York Jets, and you feel horrible, like Coach Saleh said. It's feeling horrible for Aaron, first and foremost. And I think he was excited about the opportunity that he had ahead of him, and to go out and 4 snaps in, have that taken away from you is brutal, and that's something that I dealt with during my time with the Jets too. Six plays into the 3rd game of the season, I tore my shoulder up, and as much as I was excited about being back with the hometown team and being on the Jets and being able to lead the team, the injury to me took me out, and I could certainly have that same mindset and feeling that Aaron has right now, and can empathize with them.
And Eric, how about you? It was first reported to be an ankle injury with the x-rays negative, so I think a lot of the fans breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't that bad. But did you know it was more severe at the time?
Well, when I heard the x-rays were negative, my first thought went to an injury that I had, which was, I fractured a tibia, but I had a high ankle sprain. And they tell you that tendons, they don't show up on x-rays, and sometimes they can be worse than a break. So that was the first thing I thought. I knew that it was bad. Aaron went down, he tried to get up and walk to the sideline. And when I saw his demeanor and he sat back down, I knew that he was in pain and that it was not good. This wasn't a good sign for the team moving forward. So definitely had a lot of concern for Aaron. I feel terrible. He worked hard. He's the leader of this team. He instilled a lot of confidence in the players in the organization, and for it to happen so quickly, it was very disappointing, and I feel for him.
Yeah, and I immediately thought back to Vinny Testaverde tearing his Achilles in the season opener in 1999 with Super Bowl hopes. His team had gone to the AFC Championship game the year before, and ironically, Vinny was in the building for the coin toss last night. I'm not saying, but I'm kind of just saying. All right, unfortunately, Jay, you and Chad Pennington, as you alluded to, both suffered shoulder injuries in the same game back in 2005, pretty much finished your career. Do you believe Rodgers at the age of 39 is going to play another NFL play again?
That's the big question going forward, and I really don't have the answer for that. And the issue is an Achilles rehab is a long process, so there's going to be a lot of things that are going through Aaron's head from start to finish. Hopefully he could keep his mindset in a good frame of mind and continue as the rehab goes. But now you're looking at almost a year of rehab for an Achilles injury, and there's a lot of thoughts that get into your mind when you're 38, 39 years old, and you've come to you've had the career that he had. I think he had a lot of high hopes here in New York, and hopefully that stays with him and stays in his mindset throughout. So when he gets to the end of the road of this rehab, he still feels like he has some left.
Yeah, I got to admit, seeing some of these images right now, like Aaron coming out with the flag last night and him in an actual Jets uniform, it doesn't seem real that he would come here in the first place. I think a lot of Jet fans were kind of pinching themselves because here's this 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion, one of the best quarterbacks ever, that decided this was a team that he wanted to come to. He didn't want to play with the Packers anymore, and this was the only team. Now, Eric, this team had such high hopes for the season. The defense, which was top 4 last season, was even talking about taking the ball away more to give it back to Aaron Rodgers for more scoring opportunities on the offensive side. Do they have more pressure on them on the defensive side without the 4-time MVP at quarterback?
Yeah, there's definitely more pressure on the defense now that you don't have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Immediately when Aaron Rodgers signed with the Jets, my first thought was this helps the defense. They're able to get rest. You have a quarterback who's able to go out there and sustain drives. He's able to put points on the board. And that gives the defense the luxury of, 1, getting some rest, and 2, playing from a lead. It's a completely different game when you play from behind versus playing from ahead. When you're ahead, when you put points on the board, now your defensive line can really pin their ears back. Your defensive back, they can start jumping routes. You can start dictating to the offense what you do and be more effective defensively. Now it changes a little bit because there's a little more pressure on the Jets. They have to make sure that they keep the game low scoring. They have to make sure that they don't make mistakes. They have to play a different brand of football, but You saw that last year, and they did a great job, and they were number 4 in the league. So, this defense is great. The sky's the limit for this team. They can still get the takeaways. They can still put Zach Wilson and this offense in a great position. But they're just going to have to continue to band together. And as a defensive player, just play at your best at all times.
Speaking back to about this defense from last season, there was that stretch where they could not get turnovers. I felt like they wore down. They were on the field an awful lot. Before they could even take a sip of Gatorade, they were back on the field most of the time. So I felt like that they had a lot of pressure last year, and it's going to be intense. It's going to be upped a little bit more this year. Now, Jay, does this take the pressure off Robert Saleh now that the expectations are a little lowered because Rodgers is not the quarterback? I know we heard during that press conference him saying, giving Zach Wilson a vote of confidence and believing, like, why are people putting an obituary by our name? But does this take a little bit of pressure off him because the guy who was supposed to lead them to the promised land is not here?
Well, possibly from the outside looking in. But I love what Coach Saleh talked about in that presser, and I think he's got a great mindset for moving forward. Next man up. Right now, Aaron's down. Zach, you got to go in and do everything that we ask this offense to do, and we have confidence in you. And expressing that confidence through the press conference, and I'm sure through the meetings and practices, is going to have a big effect on how his teammates see him and how he holds confidence in himself to go out and do the job. Certainly you don't want, if you're Zach Wilson, you don't want to have a coach that's woe is me, our guy's out, and we got to play with Zach.
Yeah.
Coach Saleh was saying all the right things, and I think he's a great motivator and a great communicator of what he wants his team to be in the right frame of mind.
Now, listening to Sports Talk Radio today, there was a lot of talk about if the Jets dabble in trying to get a quarterback to come in and start over him, it may do something to his confidence. I think he's a grown man right now. I think he's a professional, and whatever happens. The Jets are going to probably make the best decision that they can as far as the team goes. Now, Eric, Zach Wilson, as we know, has had his ups and downs in his short career, from getting benched last season to his teammates wearing his backup Mike White T-shirts on a road trip. He is the guy now. Is it more of the next man up mentality for his teammates, or has he really earned their trust again?
Well, I believe Zach has definitely earned a lot of trust in OTAs, in training camp. You can see that he was out there practicing with a lot of confidence. His teammates were behind him. And I think having a guy like Aaron Rodgers next to him, teaching him the ways, it definitely helped him learn a lot about the game, but it also took a lot of the pressure off of Zach's shoulders. So now I think he's in a much better position that he is than he was last year. It's tough. You come in as a rookie out of BYU. You have a small media. You come into New York City, the big city of dreams, with all the expectations that come with playing in New York, and you're given the keys to a franchise. It's a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure on a young quarterback. I think that Zach was able to take a step back, even though it was only for an offseason and 4 plays. I think it still helped him mature quite a bit, and hopefully you start to see that progress from his play.
And it came out during the preseason that he actually emulated Aaron Rodgers when he was starting out playing football at quarterback. And now to have Aaron Rodgers in training camp with him had to be quite an eye-opener and quite one of those pinch me moments for Zach Wilson. How much will he lean on Aaron Rodgers going forward, Jay? Because by all accounts, in training camp, preseason, regular season, they said that he had a great impact on Zach Wilson.
Yeah, well, certainly. I think the biggest area that Aaron's going to have an impact on Zach is from a maturity standpoint, and I think that was really where you wanted to see Zach take the next step up. From a physical standpoint, Zach can make all the throws. He was drafted number 2 overall for a reason. He could play quarterback very well. His issues last year was the maturity in the locker room, saying the wrong things in press conferences, getting on the bad side of your teammates with the way you reacted to adversity. Mm-hmm. And I think just watching the way Aaron holds himself up and the confidence that he exudes in himself on a day-to-day basis, and then the leadership skills that it takes to go out and lift your teammates up, rely on your teammates, and always have their back. That's the big step forward that Zach had to take.
All right, Eric, offensively with Rodgers and with that elite defense, the expectations were sky high. Not exactly Super Bowl or bust, but definitely division contention and playoffs. As presently constituted, what are the expectations for the Jets now in a tough AFC East and AFC overall?
Well, I don't think the expectations change for this team. Yes, from an outside perspective, everyone has them as Super Bowl candidates. They should be in the Super Bowl. But it all starts with winning home games, winning your division, and I think that does not change for this Jets team. They have all the playmakers on offense, as you heard Coach Saleh allude to. Breece Hall came in, he averaged 12 yards a carry on his first game back from coming back from an ACL injury. Garrett Wilson with a fantastic catch in the red zone. There is a ton of talent on this offense, so I don't think there's any reason why they can't continue to win games, win out these tough division games, and make a run for the AFC East, make it into the playoffs, and see what happens from there.
And let's not forget, they actually won that game last night in thrilling fashion. Xavier Gibson with that punt return for a touchdown that ended in overtime. Jay, I know the players in the locker room never believe in that same old Jet stuff, but the fans sure do. They feel like we never can have good things. This is why, they feel like they're snake bitten. As a former player, how much do you feel for the Jet fans today?
Yeah, well, look, I grew up in Long Island. I grew up a Jet fan, so I know through the 80s, 90s, before I got in the league and started playing on other teams, what it was like to be a Jets fan, through the late 70s and 80s. And then certainly, seeing it since my retirement and being back in New York and, the struggles that they've gone through, even more recently. So certainly, Jets fans have been, have such high hopes, had such high hopes, through this season. And, there's definitely a big win that got knocked out of them last night. But, you still have one of the best defenses in the league. You still have probably one of the best running backs in the league, one of the best young receivers in the league. So you got a lot of pieces, like Eric was just saying. There are a lot of pieces in there to go make a run still. They could hold a Buffalo team, with a high-powered offense like they had, the 16 points last night, and get 4 turnovers the way they did. If they could continue doing that, and the running game between Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, 1-2 punch, can really power the offense through, then, there's still some high expectations going forward.
We have somehow lost Eric Coleman, so I'll finish with you as well. There was a question in that press conference about possibly Aaron Rodgers having displeasure with a certain play calling, with the chop blocking, and Robert Saleh kind of dodged it a little bit, or said, that never came to his knowledge that he was not happy with those type of plays. He called them the quick game. Can you describe exactly what was supposed to happen on that play that he was injured?
Well, what they were talking about is the cut block on the outside. When you have a quick pass called, the quarterback's expected to get the ball and get it out of him quick. And what's been happening recently in the league is defensive linemen know that too. And as soon as they see a quarterback catch and look to throw quickly, they stop their rush. They jump up. They get in the ball lane, and you see a lot of batted balls in that quick game. So that's why the cut block is there on the offense, to get the defensive linemen's hands down so they can't get into the passing lane. For Aaron's from Aaron's standpoint, he's saying, I could find the lane myself, and if things aren't there right away, allow me to make something happen. So whether that report is true or not, if the report is true, then that's what his mindset is and frame of mind is in terms of listen, I could find the throwing lanes if the defensive linemen are up, and if the play is not there right away, I could still move around, let my offensive line stay up on their guys and not cut block and allow the defender to get that secondary rush if the first read isn't there.
Yeah, let me tell you, I was in the stadium last night, and it felt like the air just went out of the place. I know there's no roof there, but the air just went out of the place, and man, high hopes dashed. But you're telling me that you still think this Jets team can be successful going forward?
Yeah, look, I don't know from the, certainly from a fan standpoint, I don't know if everyone's looking at Super Bowl expectations anymore. In the building, I'm sure they are. They're still looking to, be as successful as possible. And you heard it from Coach there. And certainly, like I said, they have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle to be a very successful team, and they showed it last night. Zach Wilson played the whole game pretty much, aside from three plays, and they went out and they were able to beat one of the top teams in the AFC over the past 3 or 4 seasons. So, they continue to do that. Obviously, they got a tough run, these next 5 games. Yep. Dallas, going down to Dallas next week. Dallas looked pretty darn good in the Meadowlands on Sunday night, or MetLife on Sunday night. So that'll be another big test for this offense.
Yeah, certainly do. But thank you so much, Jay Fiedler and Eric Coleman, who we lost earlier, for your expertise and just taking the time out to join us today. Stay with CBS News New York as we learn more on Aaron Rodgers' injury and recovery. We have continuing coverage on air tonight on CBS 2 News at 5 and 6 and online at cbsnewyork.com. I'm Otis Livingston. I'll see you at 5 o'clock.